Hi BookTube and happy Tuesday. I've seen this tag make its rounds here on BookTube, the Confessions of a Book Collector tag, so I thought I would add my own opinions on these, and I wanted to sit down and talk with you in a way because my spirits have been dampened a bit with the wildfire smoke that's been rolling in to where I live. The fires are to the east of me, and so I'm stuck inside. Can't go anywhere. So why not lift my spirits with talking to you and thinking of and talking about books? That's always a great way of spending my time. So let's get into the questions. And there's a subtitle for this tag. It says the honest things every book collector knows but doesn't always admit. So the first question is, I own more books than I can realistically read, and that's not true for me. I actually have I've been keeping an exact tally of how many unread books that I own, and you'd think I would remember that because I recently did that math over the weekend, but I think I'm at 209, I want to say. So odd number, but that number is sticking out in my head. So I can easily, well, not, 200 is still 200, but you know what I mean. I can realistically read those books within a given time span. If I owned, for example, 2,000 or 20,000 or something, that would feel very overwhelming. In fact, for me, the 209 is a bit overwhelming. Not that I can't read them, it's just I don't like having that many unread books on my shelf. I'm constantly fighting the pile I bring in. I want to get to right away, but I have all these older books on my shelf, so I'm like, but there's new shiny books out there that I want to possess. So they just come into the house. So yes. Anyway, yeah. I don't want to digress too much on all of these questions, but no, I don't own more books than I can read. I'm not sure exactly how many books total that I own. But probably 400. If there's 200 unread, I would say 400 total, something like that. So I just have these 3 bookcases, and there's one in the living room that's half filled with books, which is like, I know, I feel like a sin as a book reader and lover that I have a bookcase that's not filled with books. But I just read so much on my Kindle that I don't need to completely fill out all the bookcases. Let's see, number 2, I've bought more books just because they were beautiful. Oh no, I bought books just because they were beautiful. No. Oh, caveat. I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to think here. I don't do cover buys exactly. Like, I don't see a book blind in a bookstore, look at the pretty cover, and like, I have to have that. There has to be, for me to spend money on a pretty edition, it has to be a book that most of the time I've read before or I know a lot about. I just don't blindly go in and purchase a book like that. I will, if it's a library book, that's, there's no harm, no foul there. But yeah, it has to be a book I know a lot about, or most often it's a book it's a favorite of mine, and I want a prettier edition than I already own. But yeah, I don't overall, like, I have some pretty covers, but on my shelves, but it's not something I'm actively seeking. Number 3, finding a great book is sometimes more exciting than reading it. I mean, I guess there is some excitement to finding a hard to find book, something I've been looking for quite a while, things like that. Like that, there is a thrill to that, or a book that's like I've been waiting for it to be released. So there is a spark of joy there, but still the enjoyment and the hours that you spend reading a book that you can enjoy a really good book, that just the length of time alone of that enjoyment versus the couple minutes of joy that you're so excited to find a book. I feel like the reading part supersedes for sure the finding a book. But I think honestly they're both different kinds of enjoyment, and I like both, but I for sure would go more towards the reading side of the enjoyment. Let me see. And I should say, as I'm going through this tag, book collector is, I think of that as looking for rare books, antique books, having many bookcases and books. Like that's not me currently, nor has it ever been. I've always been a reader, but I've never been one to own so many books. Like, you know, so many. That's not, so it's, this is, I might have some difficulty here with these questions, and it might not be, I guess, your typical book collector answers. But I do still consider myself a book reader and book lover, and book shopper as well. Let me see. So we're on number 4. I've bought duplicates by accident or because I liked a different edition. Okay, I have bought 1 or 2 books that are duplicates in my lifetime, so it doesn't happen often, and it's always like a book I haven't read, or like especially like a book in a series. I'm not sure which one of like the 10 or so that I don't own, and so I'll get a copy. So that has happened, but not frequently. And then what was it, the second part? Or because I liked a different edition. I have owned different copies of different books. Like, for example, in Jane Austen July, I was talking about how I found a different annotated Jane Austen Pride and Prejudice book that I didn't own. So they're completely different annotations and different editors and different formats. Like, one's a big coffee table book, and the other is like the normal size trade paperback. So I mean, yes, but for example, in that case, I'm keeping one and getting rid of the other. It's like, which again, I feel like it's like heresy in a way, because I know they're different content, but I just don't like having too much on my shelf. I want to keep what I really like. I'll still give books a try and, you know, read and things like that, but let me see. Then question 5, I sometimes rearrange my shelves for fun. Not exactly for fun. Like, it can start out being fun the first couple of minutes, but then it quickly becomes an exercise. Dusty. Like, I don't like the dust. Like, that's the one thing about physical books that drives me crazy. I'm constantly dusting these shelves at least like once a week, but I still, like, I need to like pull all the books off and like dust, like, not just the ledge here, but like behind, because even just like a couple of books that I pull off to, like, for example, to create a monthly to be read list, just doing that, my nose immediately, I was like, oh, just the dust of it, and I think it's just like clinging, maybe clinging to the top, I don't know, but yeah, so for me to rearrange books for fun, no, there's a purpose involved, for sure. Like, it has to be, I'm either putting books away that I've recently purchased, or like I said, creating a to be read list. So yeah, for fun, no, I don't want, like, no, if I'm doing like a major overhaul, then I'll recruit family and friends to help me, because it's an ordeal. Like, even though I don't own that many books, it's still a lot of like heavy lifting. That's, yeah, I know. Okay, let's see, number 6, there are books I'll probably never read, but I'll never get rid of them. Yeah, no, that does not apply to me at all. Like, even if it's a rare book that costs a lot of money, or a rare book that I've gotten cheap that it's worth a lot of money online or something like that. No, I don't bring books into the house if I'm not planning to read them, and I don't keep the books either if after I've read them, if I didn't like them and they're worth a pretty penny or something like that. Yeah, I'm like looking through this question again. Yeah, I guess that's where my mind went, of like, books I'll never read. Like, why would I keep them? And my mind immediately went to like, oh, it has to be worth some money. But maybe in other incidents, again, like, yeah, I guess like rare antique book, that's another way you could spin it, and that's still like, they're probably valuable, and that's why you want to keep it. Or like, maybe it's a book that will fall apart if you read it, and you want to keep it in as best condition as possible. But then I'm like, why would you have it? I don't know. That would irk me. I've had books that are like, especially like the mass market books, mass market paperbacks from like, I don't know, 70s and earlier, or 80s and earlier, and they'll like fall apart as you're reading it. The glue is dried out, and that just drives me crazy. And I'm like, okay, can I find a digital copy? Can I find a trade paperback or hardback? I don't want to keep things just to have them on my shelf like that. I don't even have many like knick-knack things that I keep on my shelf that I don't I'm not using, like I have like, oh, I don't know if you can see, but I have like little postcards here and there, like things like that, but I don't even have, I mean, I'm not discounting having little knickknack things, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I don't like having lots of clutter, I guess that's where I'm going with it. I just feel like if I have books on my shelf that I don't read, and that starts like some kind of journey with that, then I would have to like clear out space. I would need to clear out needed space for books I want to read for these books that I am not going to be reading. I would need a whole other bookcase, or like maybe like one of those like cabinets with like glass doors or something. It would be a whole project. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at this question in the wrong light. Or maybe I feel like sometimes I might not be the right person to answer these questions. But it's still fun to think about and ponder and discuss with you. Yeah, and for sure, like for any kind of tag, I think, or especially something like this, I'm always curious about you guys. Like, what is your take on like book collecting and questions like this versus the reading, like because I know that there's like, it seems to be like there's book shopping and there's book reading, and then there's this book collecting. That's a different. I feel like they're three different things. Number 7, I've bought books simply because they were a bargain. Yes, I have done that. Library book sales, the library bookstore where everything's like up to like, what is it, like $5, depending. Most of them are like $1 or $2. I've done that. Little free libraries, I'm very guilty of that because it's free. I'm just trading one book for the other. So yeah, I have done that, but it's still with an active intent of reading it, or at least trying it. Often, like say, for example, like with like little free libraries or books that cost me like 50 cents or $1, I don't put, the cheaper the book is, the less research I'm gonna do into like the less research I'm gonna do in is this book 100% suiting me. I will easily bring a book home like that, and again, I want to read it. I'm planning on reading it, but I don't have much guilt, I guess, if it goes right back out. It's 50 cents or $1 here and there, like I feel like that's nothing egregious, and I'm willing to, if I give the book a try, kind of thing. And then if not, I can happily pass it along to someone else. But still, they don't sit, hopefully they don't sit on my shelves too long. With things like that, those are, and also when I'm doing a cull of my shelves, because that's something I do. Especially right now when I've been like actively counting the books that I have unread on my shelf. That I've been making a point of doing that these last couple of months. I will do a monthly cull of my shelves and like what's the dead weight here, and easily like the cheap quick books I pick up from the library book sales or the little free libraries, those will be the quickest to go. And often those books can be found digitally. A lot of them I'll pick up as like, cozy mysteries and thrillers and things like that. Like I can, if I really want to read the book and I see it's like a digital copy, and like the mass market or something is giving me a hard time, then I'll just give the book back and then read it on my Kindle. Number 8, I like the idea of having certain books, even if I don't plan to read them soon. Yes, I guess that does apply to me. For example, I've been collecting, well, you can't really see it up here, the Gladys Taylor books, and I have been slowly making my way through those. But they're hard to find. they're out of print and hard to find. And so if I do see one and I haven't read it yet, I will snap it up, even if I don't plan to read it immediately, because I'm reading one every other month or so, and I've been trying to read them in publication order when and if I actually own the copy to read. That's like the next book in the lineup. So yeah, I do, that does happen. There's several authors that I own where I really like their work and I have read them in the past. And if I happen to find their books out in the wild, I will snatch them up. That I feel like that tends to be, yeah, some kind of favorite author where I know I'm going, like, whether I read it this year or this month, 6 months, or a year from now, I know I'm going to like that book, or most likely I'm going to enjoy the author's work, just because like these aren't authors I'm talking about where I've just read one book and really liked them. I've read multiple books throughout the years and really liked them, something like that, where there's a more weighted trust to it, a more ongoing trust with the author. Okay, there's a couple of ending questions here. What's one confession you have as a book collector? I feel like as I've kind of sort of alluded to, or not so suddenly, I don't feel like I'm a book collector. I don't feel like that's a word that could be applied to me, whether it's, like I was saying, whether it's now or whether it's been ever. Like, as a kid, as a kid, I read just from the library, my school library and my local town public library. When I was in high school, I had a little bit of money to get books from thrift stores. And that was it, or it was the library. And then when I was in college, you're getting, like, I didn't have much money, so I was getting books here and there at random little sales. So I've never had the funds to, and I've also moved around quite a bit. So there's that. And then when I became like a career woman, or whatever you want to call it, and I had more time and finances and all of that, and more stationary lifestyle, it's still, I didn't, because I maybe because I had never had that collector growing up, that collector lifestyle growing up. I didn't start it when I was in my mid-20s. That just never happened. And now, yeah, it's never applied to me. It's never made sense financially or household wise or anything like that, nor have I had any inclination, I guess, towards it. And then the last question is, what's something you do that you think other collectors would understand? I don't know. I feel like yeah, I like I said, I feel like it's a completely separate behavior and mentality. So I don't know, like, if what I do, I feel like would horrify, like, as I was answering these questions, I feel like several things that I do would horrify book collectors. And that just made me think in my head, like, I don't do this now. But I would say 10 years ago and prior, I dog-eared books like crazy. Like, always. I never used a bookmark, or whether I didn't have any bookmarks, I didn't have receipts. I mean, I had receipts. I didn't even have a proper bookmark to mark anything, but I had other things I could have used, but I didn't. I could have easily purchased a bookmark for $1 or something, but no. So I would just dog-ear pages, whether it was a library book or not, and didn't feel anything about it because I was constantly borrowing books from the library. That was my main way of doing it. This is before, Kindles and everything were invented. And it was like, and anyways, when I was borrowing books, they were always, you could always see the markings of different people dog-earing books. So I didn't think anything of it. Literally, I had no guilt. I had no guilt associated with it. But now I do. So, but yeah, as far as like what I do that they would understand, maybe how I sort my books. Like, I sort them by category, like genre, and then by author most of the time. So I have like classics sorted by author. I have history. That's, some of my history is separated by the era, the time it is talking about, and then yeah, I have like my mystery and all that. They're all like grouped together. So maybe that's something that they would understand. Like, let's go with that. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this. I'm very interested in, like, now I've seen a couple, like I said, I've seen people do this here on BookTube and make their own responses to it. But I feel like I want to hunt out other ones that I haven't seen and see what everyone's book. I feel like this is kind of like a book buying or book owning kind of prompt. So I'm curious to see how everyone else handles their book collection. But I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, BookTube.